Thank you, sir. I'll start with questionings. One thing that's been a real topic has been the issue of measles vaccines and autism. And we can see that the false article in Lancet decades ago has led to a lot of people not getting their child vaccinated. There's now a child who died from a vaccine-preventable disease in Texas. Let me repeat that, a child who died from a vaccine-preventable disease in Texas. The Secretary has put out an editorial, which is, if you just read it, the kind of understanding of it is that you should get vaccinated. I've been told that you have said that we need to invest NIH resources at looking at the link, a possible link between measles vaccine and autism. I've not heard that directly, it's hearsay. Any comment on that?
Senator, it's a tragedy that a child would die from a vaccine-preventable disease. I fully support children being vaccinated for diseases like measles that can be prevented with the vaccination efforts. As far as research on autism and vaccines, I don't generally believe that there is a link, and based on my reading of the literature. But what I have seen is that there's tremendous distrust in medicine and science coming out of the pandemic. And we do have, as you know, Senator, a sharp rise in autism rates in this country. And I don't know, and I don't think any scientist really knows the cause of it. So I would support an agenda of a broad scientific agenda based on data to get an answer to that.
But this has been fairly well, in fact, it's been exhaustively studied. And there's limited resources. And if we keep plowing over ground that has been plowed over, knowing you can never prove a negative, and since we don't know the cause, we'll still have a problem. We've got a responsibility with limited resources. How do we address those things that we don't know the cause for, or that can ameliorate those things that are related to this crisis of chronic disease? My state, by the way, is terribly affected by chronic disease, so I'm totally with you on that. But what I want to make sure is there's an appropriate use. So again, just going back to, do you have an idea, an agenda that would once more, by golly, once more, prove that measles vaccine is not associated with autism, neither the schedule, the vaccine, or anything else associated with it? Because my concern is the more we pretend like this is an issue, the more we will have children dying from vaccine-preventable diseaddises.
Senator, I guess I've turned it around and say don't want to disprove a negative. That's impossible, really. But I want to address the rise in autism that we have seen.
I accept that. I think that's laudable.
Yeah.
We need to do that.
Yeah, that's a positive.
But I'm asking the specific question: will we once more have to go back over this particular issue, because that has been exhaustively studied?
Yeah, I mean, I think, as I said, Senator, I don't think that there's a link between the MMR vaccine and autism. I'm convinced based on that literature. The only reason I'm not wholeheartedly saying yes to your question, which every instinct of mine is to do that, is that there are people who might disagree with me. I want to make sure.
But that's life.
Yeah.
I mean, there's people who disagree that the world is round.
That's true.
And I say that not to minimize these concerns, but people still think Elvis is alive. And so if you just say someone disagrees with me, so therefore I'm going to put precious limited taxpayer dollars to this and not to addressing issues of obesity, heart disease, cancer. We've lost, there's an opportunity cost there. You're the economist. What am I doing talking about opportunity cost? So I'm pressing you on this because I think that kind of is a framework. If just because somebody is upset about something, do we have the opportunity cost of devoting resources at something which has already been pretty well examined?
I mean, I guess, yes, you're absolutely right, Senator. We don't need to address every idea that or concern. But if those concerns result in parents not wanting to vaccinate their children for a vaccine that is well tested, my sense is that my inclination is to give people good data. That's how you address those concerns. I don't know.
But I'm not quite sure at what endpoint we say we've got good data, because.
I mean, I'm convinced that we have good data on MMR and autism. But if other people don't agree with me and then they don't vaccinate their children, I think I don't. If I'm confirmed as NIH director, the one lever I'll have is to give them good data. That's really the lever I'd have.
But that good data already exists. You're a scientist and you accept that. It seems more an endorsement with an appropriate allocation of current dollars would be a better way to spend precious, limited federal dollars.
I mean, I think the most important childhood health problems have to do with childhood diabetes, childhood obesity. I
I
think that's
accept
where
that we should be studying that.
that's where that's the vast majority of the effort should go. Prevention of childhood infectious diseases also, I think, is important. I mean, all of those are, I think you and I agree, would be the main priorities. That's the priorities I'll have if I'm NIH director.
Thank you. Senator Sanders.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.